Did you say, Pastor Kingsley, did you say that a divorce in Christianity, you cannot marry two women, two wives? Did you say that?
Yes, you don't marry two wives.
Did the text say every Christian should not marry two wives or deacon or leaders?
Now, before you become a deacon, you become a Christian.
No, I am asking you. Did the text say leader or deacon?
It said leader, but
Is every Christian a deacon?
No, but you become a
Good,
Christian.
good. So hold on. Is every Christian a deacon?
No.
Good. So when laws are made for certain people, it is not applicable to everybody. This is what the Christians are confusing themselves on. Paul made his laws to deacons. Let me ask you.
And the question
hold
is,
on. You let me ask you. It's my time. Let me ask you, please. With all due respect, Paul and God, who do you follow? Paul and God, who do you follow?
Paul and God.
Yeah.
We follow God through the writings
No.
of Paul.
Okay, good. So when God made provisions for polygamous wives, was God right in accepting it? That is why he made provisions for polygamous wives, or he wasn't?
God was right in allowing the polygamy.
No, he made laws in regulating it.
In regulating the polygamy.
Yeah.
That's in the Old Testament.
Yeah.
That is it.
So where did God himself banish Old Testament?
Where
Did God himself said, I have banned Old
I
Testament?
think we quoted Jeremiah 31.
No, he said, I have banned polygamy.
But polygamy is part of the covenant.
So where did God ban polygamy? Verbatim.
Where he banned polygamy.
Yeah.
Polygamy is part of
So
an
you
Old
don't have
Testament system.
the issue is you don't have a source, even in the New Testament, where Jesus or God emphatically says, don't marry two. If you have one, if you give me, I will become a Christian.
And it's not even in the New Testament that say that
Good,
go
good.
and
So
marry four.
he doesn't have it. You hold on.
So it's
you
not
don't,
also
you
there.
don't have it. So you don't have limits.
So when the Bible
what
is
it means
silent,
is
we are
that
silent.
you don't have limits. So you hold on. So you don't have source. So
We have so
good,
what
good.
source are you talking
God
about?
bless
we
you.
have the source, the New Testament.
Let me continue. Are you telling us over here that for you? Let me ask you a question, rational question, then ask you my question. Assuming the market is saturated, and we have like 700,000 women more than men.
Okay.
What solution will Christians have for those women who will not have husbands when everyone has married one woman and there are remaining women who did not get a husband? What solution will Christians have for them?
Very good. What solution will Christians have for them? Christians did not create the woman.
So you don't have solution.
Okay,
Biblically.
Let me answer you. Let me answer you. So, if there is there's a law that says we are bound to marry one, if you want to go for leadership, and every leader becomes a Christian before he goes to leadership, so I will marry one. The rest, I will leave them. I did not create them.
So you have no solution for them. Basically,
that
that's
I
what
don't
you mean.
have
Good.
solution.
I agree.
That is
I agree.
what my law says.
Basically, you have no solution.
We listen
Christianity does not provide.
not solution.
No, hold
What
on.
have?
New Testament does not provide provisions for such women. That's what you mean.
And why do you want to provide solution
So you,
for
I
someone
agree. You
that
hold
you
on.
did not create?
Hold on. You hold on.
The Creator
but you
will
claim,
take care of
you
them.
claim the Creator is the one that gave you the Bible.
Yes, the
So
law for
the
one.
Creator did not give you solutions for those remaining women.
So I'll be silent.
And so silent.
That is it.
Silent. Good,
So
good. It's good you remain
Christians will be
silent.
silent
Now let me ask you
because
again.
your law is to marry one.
Let me ask you again. When you assert that Christianity gives women right and freedom, how on earth will you allow your daughter to marry a man who beats her, attacks her, and probably use pressing iron on her back, and you see wound and blood because he did not commit adultery? How on earth will you tell your daughter to go back to such a man? If that is the case, are you a good father?
Very good. That is why before the child will go to, my daughter will go to marry, right? Or before my daughter get married, right from day one, he passed through my hand. That's what we're training.
What if it happens?
No.
What if it
Allow me
happens?
to answer you. Whatever would happen, if it happens, that's why as a Christian father, you need to always advise them to marry a Christian.
My question: if we have seen
husband.
Christians abusing their wives, Christians. There was
That's
even
why
a Christian pastor who
in
unalived his wife in
first
Canada or UK
statement,
some time ago.
I answered that.
Hold on, please. So don't bring the Christian. There are always bad nuts in Islam, Christianity, in every movement. You may have bad nuts in them. What if accidentally your daughter ends up in a brutal marriage where she's being brutalized and Christianity does not give a room for her to divorce? Will you tell your daughter to go back to the man?
That is why we have, when it comes to counselors,
you will do calculation.
in terms of marriage, we give room for a separation, not divorce.
So, separation.
Separation, for them to read themselves again, then they can come together.
So, will you allow your daughter to go back? My question: will you allow your daughter to go back to such a violent person?
But a violent person can change.
Will you?
Why not?
Good. So, in Christianity,
person
any
can
Christian
change.
who has divorced because of violence is actually going to hell. This does not give women the right. This is an oppression. Even when the man is unaliving you, you must still remain in that marriage. And your father is in support of such a brutal home. This is not actually civilization. When you read this book, Gender and Equality, it says a man has no right to brutalize his wife. And if you are in such a brutal relationship, get out of it. Islam will continue to be better than Christianity because it gives room for the wife to divorce in case she ends up in such marriage. Now let me ask another scenario. Please.
Can I come in?
In the entire New Testament, from Matthew to Revelation, do you have a chapter dedicated for women?
Chapter
dedicated for women.
And why do you want a chapter to be dedicated for women?
Good. So he doesn't have. It's okay. Secondly, can you provide me? Hold on. Can you provide me sources that is saying a Christian woman can acquire knowledge to become let's say a scholar where men and women will gather in her front while she teach them biblically?
Very good. Titus chapter 3.
Titus 3, verse. My time, or if you don't have, let me move forward. Because it will me time. You don't.
Verse 4 and 5.
3 verse 4 to 5. Okay.
Titus 1, let me check.
Titus 3.
Verse 4 to 5. People are
Chapter-
coming.
chapter-
3.
Titus 3.
Chapter 3, verse 4 to 5.
Verse 4 to 5. But after the kindness and love of God, our Savior, toward man appeared, not by works of righteousness.
So my man doesn't have the quote. Quote in Amfa.
Hold on. This is a quote, so hold on. Quote is not about Amfa.
So while you are looking at it, let me talk. When you
If
get
you
the
know
quote, what
what
is
you
there?
want,
Say
we'll
it.
Yeah, the woman, the older woman in the church has to train. I have it about.
Okay.
Has the right
yeah.
to train the younger men.
So the criteria is for older women,
Is
age,
it?
not in terms of education.
No, if you
hold
what
on.
are you talking
A
about?
woman can be
Someone who doesn't
educated.
have education.
Hold on. A woman can be
educate.
No. Experience. You can use experience to educate.
And
But
the Bible
not-
is talking about
you-
experience.
Let me hold on. One can use experience to educate, but in terms of knowledge, age doesn't matter. You can have a young girl who is
Is educated.
15 years old, highly educated than a 40-year-old woman.
Well.
So I'm talking about in terms of, okay, what about in terms of women empowerment? Do you have female Christians who can be military women, sports women, and leaders, queens, and the rest?
Why not?
Titus 2.
Titus 2.
Verse 3.
It's chapter 2, verse 1 to 5. I
Yeah.
quoted for 4 and 5.
Yeah,
Titus
3
2,
and 4.
verse number 3 and 4.
Yeah.
But I made 4 and 5.
Yeah.
It's 3 and 4. So the
Titus-
woman, the older woman, has to be knowledgeable to be able
The
to
criteria
train
is for
the
older
young
women.
men.
I'm talking about, listen to the question
So
well.
we don't allow young men to go and train older women.
So because you don't allow the young women to explore in field of education. Once you have explored in an education, age does not matter. You can have a 16-year-old girl knowledgeable than a 40-year-old man or 40-year-old woman.
What if he's not married? What if the
Eh,
young
marriage
woman-
is not the
the
criteria
knowledge
over
is
here. I'm
not
talking
married?
about knowledge empowerment, giving the young girl education. Do you have any verse that says a Christian young girl should be educated to grow up
Now,
to become this and that and that?
Why we say you train efficiency, you train up a child. You know, what do you mean by training?
Training.
Training, in terms of training, giving education is a form of training.
So what you are
So you
what
train
you are
the
basically
child,
saying
you give
is
him education, you give her education.
what you are basically saying is
both in the house and then in the secular world.
what you are saying is non-formal education. This is what we
It's
call
not
it.
about
Let me land.
We have education.
You let me
which is
land.
in
I'm
the-
left
in
with
the house,
I'm left with 3
and
minutes.
We have education which is secular.
Good,
So we're
thank
not
you.
talking about
So
non-formal
in
education.
secular, can you give us instances where a Christian women are sitting in a classroom and they are being taught in the Bible?
Certain way.
In the Bible, where
In the-
we had a
in the
teacher
classroom.
where Christian women are sitting there and they are being taught how to read and write.
Come on, this is a choice. If you want to learn,
So you don't
as a
have.
Christian
Good.
woman,
Let me move
if
on.
you want to learn,
You
you
are-
can learn.
Al-
And it's not
allow the
everybody
audience.
who can go to school.
Allow the audience.
But if
a
they
Christian
want to
woman,
go, they
good.
will learn.
Allow the audience. A Christian woman cannot divorce the husband even when she's been compelled to death. She must die in that
But
marriage.
there's a separation. I think I'll give her answer.
She
There's
can't
a-
divorce.
You can,
Separation,
you can
no.
separate, but not divorce. So that you can read and then you come back.
Come
together.
back.
That's why we have man.
She must still
do
go back.
change.
She must
So
still
you
go back to
don't
be quiet.
expect that
She must still
because-
go back to be
because
quiet.
the man is abusive.
What if the man doesn't
you cannot
change?
say that he can't change.
What
No.
if the man
And
doesn't change
you
again?
cannot say that.
You again are here.
Even
Thank you.
the woman herself can also
You
change.
I hear. Abraham,
two
good,
people
good.
fight, one
I
person
agree.
doesn't
I
fight.
agree. Abraham spoke about. I think I forgot it. Let me address that one. Where Islam says a woman cannot rule a kingdom. Any kingdom that allows woman to rule, that kingdom shall fall. And he gave a reference of Queen Elizabeth. Of course, Queen Liz ruled, but Queen Liz lost a lot of empires. Let me show you number of empires Queen Liz
I think that
lost.
was quoted from the.
Oh, I'm not talking about the Bible again, please.
Abraham quoted from.
I'm talking about Abraham. Kingdoms Queen Elizabeth lost. Yeah, they lost a lot of territories when she took over. So Islam does not say she cannot become a leader, but giving her like the entire empire. You know that the UK empire. It's not easy. It's too
Very
big.
wide.
That is what Islam is talking about. That and again, anciently when you are made such a leader in a battlefield, you go and fight yourself. And most women cannot lead such an empire. Majority of them. So obviously the empire will fall. So before, do you even know that even Ghana was their territory? They lost it. Yes or no? They lost
They
Ghana.
did.
They even lost Palestine. They lost India. There are many places they
Many.
lost under her regime.
Exactly.
Prophet was right. Sadaqa Rasulullah. He was truthful. So Islam doesn't say she cannot rule. Like I said, Omar even appointed Nusayba and gave her an appointment. But for the entire Arabian Empire to be given to a woman is what he says. He doesn't say she cannot rule, but he says they will fall. They will fall. Now,
But what if she is not like a good leader? But I mean,
if she's not a good
maybe
leader,
she is just not a good leader. That's why it's falling. But doesn't mean that it applies to every woman.
no, the prophet isn't saying that you cannot rule. A woman can rule.
Yeah.
But when a woman is given an entire empire,
Okay.
she will fall.
Okay. There are too many for her.
Too many for her, she will fall. Because of basic responsibilities that she will even go through. My time is up. So. But I was quite
I'm
your
enjoying
question,
it.
but
Exactly. And then time has gone way far. Yeah, exhausted time, but we are moving.